In this retelling, the COG Army has made a sanction to ban all bandanas. What's up everybody, StevDeS here. I am a long-time fan of this series and it was only a matter of time before I decided to try my hand at this one. Today we turn our sights onto planet Sarah. It's a weird name for a planet. Why the heck would you name it like that? Well, I mean, we do have Venus. And Jupiter. And Pluto. Where the humans once were fighting for their version of peace, more along the lines in a courtroom than on a battlefield. But then, Emergence Day. Their initial defenses were shattered, and then they ceased enemy control by obliterating their own civilization. And now their desperate battle against ever-increasing odds approaches a final, testosterone-induced stand. Without a key player this time. In this video, we will be looking at the Gears of War franchise and contemplating what might happen if Dom didn't rescue Marcus from jail. Should Dominic Santiago not have gone against orders and rescued his friend Marcus Phoenix from a jail cell, what might have occurred in Delta Squad? Well, for one thing, Marcus wouldn't be the main character. Dom would. And Delta Squad would consist of Dominic, Anthony Carmine, and Lieutenant Kim. Now, I'm going to warn you right now. The Gears of War 1 storyline was not really the most important part of that game. Looking through the footage, it's not really mentioned as a big turning point. Gears of War was mainly focused on the gameplay. You had titles like Halo 3 and Call of Duty, which pride themselves on first-person shooting, and then you had this doing the third-person perspective. It was really revolutionary at the time. To think of a third-person shooter as being entertaining, that just reminded me of the Battlefront days. Gosh, Star Wars Battlefront. Maybe I'll do a video on that sometime. Oh wait, I did. So I'd like to address this. Things will stay very similar early on, and it may branch off depending on how I would like to change the characters. Gears of War 1 really had a stayed true method as far as what the COG Army wanted to happen. To go against that, I really wouldn't have much of a story, because I don't know enough about the planet and how the rest of it was going on. It's a very clear, guys go here, then they go here. Something happens there, then they go here. Something happens there, then they go there. And something happens there, and something happens there. My point is, this will be focusing mainly as to how the characters adjust with this change, rather than actually having a story. Because Gears of War 1 was not really that. It really wasn't story heavy. With that being said, let's get into the No Marcus run of Gears of War. From a gameplay perspective, the beginning area of Embry Square is actually a really good training zone. I can see Lieutenant Kim giving the player hints on how to do things, like throwing a frag in an emergence hole, or aiming and firing your gun, reloading. Heck, Anthony could be an example of gun jamming, and then later on we know what happens there. Since Delta Squad is sent into Embry Square, a lot of things stay the same. But Dom doesn't really have Marcus to talk to. He's just kind of contemplating. Maybe Anthony has a nice conversation with Dom. I mean, he is a pretty social guy, up until he gets shot in the head because he decided to lean over the cover. Nice one, moron! The Locust don't give a damn about no helmets! However, since skipping the whole jail sequence, I think it's safe to say that Delta Squad would get there a little sooner. And somebody might actually survive. Someone we're hinted to. Someone that we think might join the squad at one point. Rojas. Yeah, you remember the guy that Dom said, well, his kid just turned 2. I hope Rojas isn't down there with those dead COG soldiers. Here, Delta Squad's able to save Rojas's life before he gets torn apart by wretches.
But StevDeS, the only thing we get out of Rojas is that he was in Alpha Squad and he's a parent. How can you make a character out of that? They're just making stuff up. Unsubscribe. Flag the video. This isn't worth it.
Here's the thing, though. Even though Rojas is a very open-ended character, that doesn't mean you and I can't come up with something that would make it interesting. Honestly, I wanted to meet Rojas because he's a parent. Which of the people in the Gears of War franchise is actually a parent?
Dom.
Hoffman isn't revealed to have a family even though he killed his own wife when the hammer bombing was happening. There really isn't much talk of a family man in the Gears of War series, so I thought Rojas would have been a very interesting character to get to know. And then he's torn apart. So what I want to do is put a poll right here. Where else was the poll going to be? And I want to know, what kind of personality would you give Rojas?
Oh, StevDeS, this poll is really confusing. All you got is numbers.
That's where the description comes in. In the description, I've left numeric descriptions of the kinds of personality that I see going over really well as far as character development. What kind of character could we make Rojas if he were to survive in this situation? Is he the kind of funny guy? Is he kind of underhanded? Is he a kind of guy that looks out for himself? Or is he more of a family man and wants to be sure everybody else is saved? Leave a comment below if you'd like to add to whatever you voted. And also, vote in the poll. Together we can make Rojas an actual thing in this timeline.
But StevDeS, let's be honest. You could have just done with the 3 persons on the squad. You didn't have to bring Rojas into this.
Actually, I did. Remember when I said that Gears of War prided itself on a different type of gameplay? Yeah, that gameplay involved 4-person teams. And after Anthony gets shot in the head, you're down to 2 people. Then you save Cole. There's only 3 people. So a 4th person has to be introduced here in order for the multiplayer to make sense. Because let's face it, Epic doesn't care about stories anymore. Look what they did with that! Regardless, I want to know what kind of character we can make Rojas. But for right now, let's focus on him getting found. Rojas is rescued in the sort of court hearing room or speech room just before you find his corpse. He's not exactly run back there yet, but thanks to Delta Squad, he's able to be saved, and sure enough, reunite with his buddy Cole. So naturally, Rojas would feel thankful. And he does know Dom, because Dom knows that his kid went to a week ago by this time in the timeline.
Man, Cole, bet Dom was fanboying when he saw you.
That's right, everybody wants to see the train, baby. Please. Okay, you did put the citation. At this point in the game, Rojas would more than likely tell the player how easy it is to kill wretches as far as one melee strike. Like, he would say something along the lines of, "Man, I ran out of ammo and I was just beating these things to death." Letting the player know that they really don't need to spend a whole lot of ammo on wretches. Just a fun little hint there. Delta Squad would keep on moving up until the court hall where Marcus said, and a lot of lies too. This time around, Dom would be defending his friend. Kim would say, there was a lot of memories here. He remembers this place. Dom would stand up for Marcus in his absence at this point and tell Kim that it really wasn't a fair trial.
You got some nerve mentioning him. I know all about his trial.
His trial was a sham. Marcus didn't deserve to rot in jail. Sir, honestly, in this retelling, Dom has no clue where Marcus is.
He could still be in jail. He could have gotten out and become stranded.
He has absolutely no idea where Marcus is. Seeing that the jail got swarmed shortly after their mission began, it would lead Dom to believe that Marcus is indeed dead. And honestly, it would take a toll on him. He doesn't want anybody talking bad about his friend. Naturally, the COG don't care. They would probably confirm the death, and just be done with it. After the Cedars are taken out and Alpha Squad is regrouped, Rojas then introduces himself to Baird. It's not a case where Cole is showing the dog tags. Rojas is there now. So, naturally, Rojas would be the one to carry the resonator. I mean, Cole already worked hard enough to get him that far. We still get the Locust attack to attempt to split them up, and unfortunately, Lieutenant Kim still takes a knife to the chest. This time, Marcus isn't there to go gung-ho and try to save him. Dom just sees it happen, remembers what he said about Marcus, and moves on. Into a hall with a berserker in it, and another cog soldier that was not meant to be bites the dust. This time around, it's not Marcus calling the shots. Dom is on the radio because he knows Anya will be there, and he needs to be advised. Dom still has the hammer, so he can still make a difference here. And he asks Cole to join him. Heck, Cole's voice could distract anything.
That was in your house, bitch! You hear that shit?
With Cole's athleticism and Dom having the hammer, it's not going to be hard for both of them to pull a win out of this situation. Not to mention, when Cole is deciding on a mission for it to go right, he gets it right! After the Berserker's taken down, I think it's fair that Alpha Squad gets a new leader. Sergeant Baird. Baird's done a lot, and considering a whole game was made based on what happened with Baird and why he was a private in the beginning of Gears of War, I think the COG would look at that. They don't want some star athlete, they don't want some guy that in the regular timeline got killed by wretches, and Dom has ulterior motives as far as trying to find his wife and works with Stranded to try to get that goal to come to light. Of the four that are left, Baird's the best pick. So, naturally, he doesn't complain. They gave the smart guy the promotion. Good job. Everybody wins! After getting word from Hoffman that they have a long way to walk, Baird is ready to look for a vehicle. And a vehicle is just what's on Dom's mind. And Baird's not going to like it. Baird's actually about to force rank here and say that no, we should just get to a point where a Raven can pick us up and let's go. But they don't know where that point is because they had to fight a lot of Nemesis. They don't really know what parts of Embry Square the Locust are really holed up in, and they might as well walk into an ambush. Rojas and Cole, however, want Baird to listen to Dom this once, and they voiced this opinion, following it up with Sir. Because, let's face it, Dom just lost his entire squad, and now he's being put into Alpha Squad. And Alpha Squad consists of Rojas, who's friends with Dom, and Cole, who never lets his fans down. Dom made the right call about, calling Anya about the Berserker and being sure that he had Cole with him. So, naturally, he's trusted by at least 2 of the 3 other members. Baird reluctantly does agree with this prospect. It can't be that bad, right? Baird? The second Baird hears the word stranded, he's not happy about this plan. However, he doesn't like Krill more. And if the Gears are walking in the middle of the night with no light, there's a problem. Baird decides to go for it, and all the way to the Stranded camp is where nothing really changes. At the Stranded camp, Dom makes his stand and works his magic in order to get the keys to the chunker. But, they still need to hold back collateral. Baird volunteers to go with Dom and tells Cole and Rojas to just sit down and be with them. Baird's happy for this situation. He doesn't have to stay around with the Stranded. And Cole is Coltrane. He's loving this. Besides, Baird wants to take a look at this junker. He thinks maybe he can, offer an upgrade or 2. In this situation, not much really changes. Baird doesn't really give a toss about the Stranded, so going to go get the junker, it's just a mild inconvenience. And speaking of mild inconveniences, That guy's dead. Yeah, Baird ain't gonna put up with that guy. He wants to be sure he survives and he doesn't trust him.
So who's gonna operate the lights? Oh yeah, Jack's a thing. But how's Jack supposed to regroup? He can cloak.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for Krill to be light sensitive about things if light just passes through Jack. After they get back to the stranded camp where Rojas and Cole are nice and full from that feast and fighting Locust, they help them out, pick up Cole and Rojas, and Alpha Squad heads off to deploy the resonator. And that is where we will be leaving things for this video. If you're interested in a part 2, give this video a like. The more likes I get on a video, the more chances I'm probably going to go ahead and make a part 2. So what do you all think? Do you think Rojas' personality will add or take away anything? Do you think Baird can be as good a leader as Marcus was in the original timeline? Could Marcus have actually survived being in the jail as long as the Locust was there? Go ahead, leave a comment below, vote in the poll above there, and like the video if you enjoyed it. For more what ifs in video gaming, like if a certain other duo would never have met, go ahead and subscribe. I'm definitely going to tackle other games and other different topics. Seeing that support really energizes me to write the best scripts that I can and really come up with really creative stuff for you guys. Seeing every subscriber on this channel actually means a lot in the grand scheme of things. Anyways, I hope you really liked this video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!